For sure, for sure. Now, as it relates to my New York Knicks, someone that you're familiar with, they made the hiring Mike Brown, the former NBA Coach of the Year, two-time Coach of the Year, and former coach of the Sacramento Kings. What did you think of the hiring of Mike Brown?
I love the hire. I think Mike is a perfect fit for New York City. Mike can hang in the boardrooms, and he can get it on the gritty too. You know, he can be honest with players, and he is a lot of the time. Sometimes brutally honest when he has to be. And the players, the Knicks roster will find out that he'll coach them hard, but it will come from interpersonal relationships and a place of love. And that's what I saw from Mike in Sacramento up close, and what I knew about Mike before as well. We actually worked in television together when he was out of the league for a little bit. He worked at ESPN, and he and I did the NBA Finals in 2011 together on ESPN 3D back then. But the thing that will strike a lot of Knicks fans is his attention to detail. The thing you need to know about Mike Brown, CP, is that this man still irons his own shirt. He irons his own shirts before games. And, you know, they don't have the dress code anymore, but he's still very meticulous. You know, his degree of honesty will be something that will be appreciated in New York, too. And, you know, I think offensively, a lot of people think of Mike still as a defensive-minded coach, which he is. He, you know, he hung his hat on that end of the court as a coach early in his career, but his time with the Golden State Warriors helped serve him very well at the offensive end, and that's where I think he's going to take the Knicks to that next level. So
he had the Kings as the number one rated offense in that first season and became the Coach of the Year. How much was that? Because at this moment, they're still looking for an offensive, an assistant coach who I believe they're looking for more of an offensive coordinator type of mind. They were not allowed to speak to James Borrego, who's with the Pelicans. You have Jay Triano, who's with the Mavericks, and now Darvin Ham is not allowed to speak with the Knicks. What do you make of, because some people say, well, you know, Jordy Fernandez was really kind of the architect of that offense. What do you make of Brown's ability to help this Knicks offense that's in dire straits right now?
Mike had his hands all over the offense. Jordy ran it in Sacramento when we were there, but Mike had his finger in a lot of the input and a lot of the design as well. I think that if they don't get anybody to his liking, he would be more than comfortable and more than able to be able to do it himself. But either way, when it's all said and done, it's going to be a pace and space type of offense. And, you know, he's got another left-handed point guard to run it all. You know, a lot of what they call five, kind of a spread five offense, and, you know, DHO actions with the big. And, you know, Cat is good enough to be able to, I think, skill-wise, do what Sabonis does in Sacramento, and he adds a perimeter threat that maybe Domas doesn't have. So he can supercharge that offense. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Knicks up around an offensive rating of about 120 next year.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see. I mean, for the most part in the regular season, they were around top 5 in offense. Now, second half of the season, things started to slow down a little bit. Some theories were that, especially with Towns, opposing teams would put smaller wings on him. And that would limit his effectiveness.
That's always the counter,
That's always the counter. And then in the playoffs, it just seemed to be a grind. Against Detroit, against the Celtics, the offense seemed to be hard to come by. So what I'm hoping for with Mike Brown is that he can supercharge the two-man game, especially with Brunson and Towns, because I feel like there was a lot left on the bone there that they didn't take advantage of.
You know what, CP? It's going to be a lot more, I think, read and react as opposed to some of the set calls that maybe New York ran, a lot of the elbow actions that you saw with Coach Tibbs. And I think we see the way of the NBA right now. You've got to have versatile, multi-skilled players that can play concept basketball. And I think that's what served OKC and the Pacers even more so in that sense, being able to get to the finals. So there'll be pace and space. I think Brunson probably will play off ball a little bit more to the benefit of the entire offense.
Yeah, that will be interesting because off ball, he's as efficient as they come. And then look, when it comes to crunch time, I call him Captain Clutch. get it to him and let him go to work.
Well, he's got another lefty point guard, right? So a lot of times with Mike in his spread 5, he would put De'Aaron in the right corner and have one of the bigs, DHO, and have Fox coming to his left, getting downhill with his strong hand. And that was pretty much an unbeatable play, you know. And I think Brunson's more than capable of kind of replicating the same things.
Yeah. I'm also curious to see what he gets out of the wings. Now he's got some wings that he didn't have in Sacramento, in particular Mikal Bridges, because I think there's some more there in terms of his shot creation ability to be able to maybe running a second unit, but just getting more out of Mikal Bridges offensively. It seemed like it was a little bit of a struggle. He had an up-and-down season with the Knicks during the regular season, trying to adjust to a new role, especially being an on-ball defender with the opposing team's toughest guard. So I'd like to see what Mike Brown does with
that
Mikal.
takes a lot of juice out of your offense when you've got to guard the other team's best perimeter player. Mike will find a way to maximize him. You know, it may look a little bit more of a collective next year. And, you know, Cat's numbers might be a little bit off. They might not. Brunson's numbers might come down a little bit, but I think you'll see more of a balanced attack overall because of the type of offense that they'll be running, and Bridges will benefit from that.
The pressure on head coaches as it relates to this league. I mean, you've seen a lot in this league.
No patience.
Yeah, here's Mike, 3 years. He's coach of the year 1 minute, and next minute he's on the chopping block. Tom Thibodeau, Eastern Conference Finals, gone. Mike Malone, championship, gone. What have you made of that?
It's great. First things first, you don't want to win Coach of the Year.
Right.
Give it to that guy. He deserves it more.
That's it.
I don't like seeing it. I don't like seeing coaches being as disposable and dispensable as they are right now. When you have ownership that is willing to walk away from, in Tom Gora's case and Monty Williams, some $60 million, that's mind-blowing.
Wow. Yeah.
But it discounts the profession, I think, a little bit. And, you know, at some point, I think ownership has to be a little bit careful about not always putting the finger on the coach. You've got general managers that are accountable in not sometimes providing resources for that coach. Coaches working with imbalanced rosters are limited, so you've got to temper those expectations when that happens. I would love to see that trend slow down, if not stop overall, because there's a lot of great coaches that really didn't get a fair chance. I look at Phoenix right now, and they're going to go on their 4th coach as many years. At some point, it's the players, you know, and, you know, I'm not sure how long it's going to take to realize that, but, you know, they shifted their roster a little bit, so maybe they're tending to some of those shortcomings.
Yeah, and there's an opportunity cost with that, right?
Yeah.
When you trade for Towns and you got your depth, and you trade for Mikal Bridges and you got your draft capital, now it's on the coach to get the most out of those players. But it was clear that there was an imbalance. It was a top-heavy team, and it put more pressure on a guy like a Tom Thibodeau to use guys who he may not trust, and he's a big trust guy. And so Landry Shamet, he came on, played well and finished well, but for the Cameron Paynes and some of the other guys that they had on the bench, I'm not so sure that's going to get it done. But it put a lot of pressure on Tibbs there.
Yeah,
when he didn't use them.
And I would anticipate, you know, what I saw up close with Mike in Sacramento for the 3.5 years we were there together was he's willing to pluck somebody off the bench and trust that they'll be professional in their approach and be ready to go. He's not afraid of going 8, 9, 10 deep. I saw that very frequently from him in Sacramento. So, you know, 7 through 10 on the Knicks roster should be ready to participate, even if it's just spot duty from time to time. I think the Knicks have the roster to win the East next year. I really do, especially when I look at the incremental improvements that Mike can make. One thing that I think goes under the radar CP, with Mike is his ability not just to run the pace and space, but what he was in the process of doing in Sacramento, and I'll give him an incomplete grade on it because I think they could have waited a little bit, but, you know, ownership sees it the way they see it. But he was evolving the Kings offense to be able to take advantage of situations in the playoffs, like the Knicks ran into, where it grinds a little bit, and you have to be able to take advantage of mismatches a little bit more. And it was a work in process at the time in Sacramento. I think Mike, knowing him, he's way ahead of the game in New York. He's already done his homework and sees what that next incremental improvement has to be. And I'm sure he's already got it down on paper.
Yeah. Once again, we are talking to the incomparable Mark Jones, CP the Franchise, live here from the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. Salute to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, the share button, and subscribing to the channel. When you look at the way that the Knicks exited the Eastern Conference Finals, man, I was there at the Garden, Game 1, Halliburton's theatrics, the choke, everything. It was flashbacks. My trauma came back to my kid years with Reggie, Mark. But
I get it.
Those 2 games, man, it really hurt him in terms of the momentum of this series. And
yeah, it did.
Indiana was great, but that was tough.
Yeah. It's tough to drop games at home like that in the conference finals. And, Indiana was, I felt, almost a team that was preordained to get to the finals this year. It just things kind of fell their way up until the Game 7 tragedy with Halliburton. But, sometimes you have to accumulate scars to be successful at the end. And I think if the Knicks take the glass half full approach, they'll say, you know what, that's just something that we had to go through to get to the next step. And, the guys inventoried that, I'm sure. Kat, Jalen, Mikal, the rest of the guys. And I think they'll come back more motivated than ever. I ran into Josh Hart last week down in Miami as a home in South Florida. Spends a lot of time there in the summertime. He was working out at Ronnie Taylor's gym down there. I hang out there a lot. And he's more than motivated to come back and put this past season behind them and take it a step further next year. He did tell me that he was going to get his finger fixed. Oh. Because CP showed it to me, man. It was making this finger, the ring finger, was making a left turn,
like
then
MJ.
a right turn, and then a left turn again. I was like, man, put that thing away. I want to see it.
Yeah, the war wounds that these guys accumulate, some that you don't even know about over the course of an 82-game plus playoff grind. Man. It's incredible that they're able to come out every night and give it 100%.